What's up, everybody? It's your guys over here at Afterthought Reactions, and we are going to be reacting to a series called The Mask. This is a series where people will secretly vent their frustrations and topics based on what the video is, and the one we are going to be watching is apparently about black people. I don't know much about it, so let's get straight into it.
In an age of call-outs, culture wars, and perfect facades, people can be afraid to express how they really feel. So we brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and asked them all 7 burning audience questions. What will be revealed when we take the mask off?
What?
If your answer is yes, you'll turn your light on. F the police.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Like he just said, there are some good out there, and personally having a cousin who is a police officer, but everything else behind that, and all of the other people who bring the racist and pretty much mentality to it, yeah, no, it's them for sure.
All right, we're gonna have everyone join the conversation.
I don't really feel anything towards this statement because I haven't had any encounters with police. Like,
Okay, look.
She don't care about black people. She don't care about black
Care
people.
about black people. I've been pulled over before for some BS, right? But I've never been pulled over by a white person. I feel like if you get pulled over by a white person, that's some scary shit right there.
No.
I mean, like, I get that being a policeman isn't racist. It's just the people who are policemen that tend to be racist. I get that, but
You don't get it. No, you don't get it because why be racist?
It's the power, bro. When people have that mentality, it can be amplified by the fact that they're somewhat above the law. Like the fact.
So
that
you're basically saying that the power is consuming them.
Yes. If you're a racist and you have the ability to have control over others, and you have the law to back it up, you're just gonna go nuts. You're just gonna go crazy.
Why do you have to have a personal experience? Why can't you just look at the damage has been done?
it's different because I feel like I feel the weight of my ancestors in certain situations in other areas of my life than I do with the police.
But I find it interesting that only the black men had agreed with that.
I'm like on the fence with it because I know that there are black cops out there that are truly trying to protect and serve. And I really don't know what I would do if we completely destroyed the police system. I would be scared because it's like, okay, well, I don't believe that is the solution. But yes, black men have that main encounter with the police. And sometimes it's annoying because it's like, okay, is this the only cause that y'all care about is police brutality? But yeah, it's halfway with me.
Are Asians racist towards you?
I'm sorry. That's what? Out of all races, Asian, I say
I've never faced racism against what?
they're my people.
If anything, we be racist to them.
I have a neighbor who is very privileged. She's married to a white man. She's Asian. And I feel like that comes a lot nowadays in America. I feel like Asian women are trying to be the white woman of America. And they're not realizing that they're also in marginalized communities just as we are.
Especially Asians that are born into American culture. It seems like they're just pretty much white and they don't have any empathy for other minorities.
I have had negative interactions with like Asian people or like other people because I'm black and because colorism is a thing. But I've also had like positive interactions. So I feel like, yeah, Asia, it's just a very generalized term.
I know it happens, of course, but me personally, I have not experienced racism from the Asian community. I do totally agree with the idea of colorism because it does seem like the darker you are, the quote uglier you are in any ethnicity, which does suck.
I think the American influence is big. And that's on anybody that comes, no matter where you come from, what background. When you get to America, you spend a couple years here, you start to see how things are done, whether they're right or wrong. You see how things are done, how black people are treated, how white people are treated. So a little bit after I left the military, I spent a couple years in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and South Korea. These places were places where I was accepted more so than back home. It was shocking to me to not be followed around in stores in South Korea. It was shocking to me to not be treated or even looked at the same way I would be walking down the street in certain places here.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, bro.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm not gonna sit here and say I had a racial encounter with Asian. I never have. But you know, the part we live, we really don't have that many Asians in our community, especially in the suburbs part. We really got them. There's no way I can say this to not be. There's no way I can say this. Like, we only have Asian people that have the Chinese restaurants, and that's it. That's all we have now where we're from. We don't have no suburb doctor type Asians here. We don't.
He said walking around the gas station getting followed. I felt that.
How?
Bro, you never walked into a gas station, didn't know exactly what you wanted. You know you wanted something to eat, right? But you didn't know exactly what you wanted to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like and then like you staying up for longer than 3 minutes just staring, right? That dude around the back behind that corner. He behind that counter looking like, you still?
I have dated outside my race.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
If that girl that was talking about the ancestors, if she said she dated out her race, I understand. I understand what you mean.
Hey, how about you, bro? Have you ever dated outside of your race, bro?
No, sir. Thought about it. Still thinking about it. But no. You know, Asian persuasion.
In my past dating history, I feel like, I tasted the rainbow pretty much. Like, I dated East Asian men, I've dated Hispanic men.
Oh, I thought he was being
different.
Completely different.
Like, you're never gonna find.
I thought when she said, nowadays you don't know what that means. Like, you don't know what that means.
The rainbow.
You don't know.
Find somebody outside of your race that's gonna 100% understand you, understand your struggle, understand your family, why you do things the way that you do. When I'm dating them, I know it's gonna be different, and I feel that's kind of like why I'm entertaining the fact of even doing that.
Oh yeah, you gotta talk about that too. You might have not experienced this, but it's already like an unwritten rule. I better not bring a white girl in that house.
Oh, yeah, my dad hates white people. Like, I'm cool with him, but like, man, like when Donald Trump won, boy, you know how many grasses I had to cut? Like that, like he took his frustrations out on me. So I don't know why.
That's one thing you can't bring. I couldn't bring. I'm not allowed to bring a guy in there, and I'm not allowed to bring a white woman. Like, those are the two things that are like off limits, because it's like, yeah.
I don't think that I would necessarily date a white person. I just feel like there's a disconnect. But as long as like they're willing to have those conversations with me and understand like my blackness, I want to have those conversations with them, and I don't mind what their race is.
I think for me, it's just all about my comfort level with you and how much I can relate. And like he said, I think a white woman would be like at the bottom of the totem pole, just because we don't have that much to connect on. But I'm not opposed to it. I would just kind of rather work with something that I know there's a lot of compatibility there.
I'm not opposed to dating outside my race, but in terms of marriage, I would love to marry a black man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about our ancestors. Like, they're probably turning in our grave. Their grave. Like, they're like, what are you doing? Like, we've done so much, and you want to be with this white person or this non-black person?
I've never dated outside of my race, but maybe I should, because a lot of black men tend to go to non-black women.
Because they can control them.
Yes, and because
they're easier.
And because they have
Oh, you heard that too, right?
I did. I mean, when she say easier, what we talking about?
I know what she meant. I know what she meant.
Nah, but why is that always like the first thing though? Like, when people say dating outside their race, they always go towards, oh, he's going to go straight to the white woman. That's not true.
European features, softer hair. They like the Kim Kardashian looking woman.
Exotic.
You want the black woman aesthetic, but you need the European features. So maybe I should date outside of my race, but I personally, like you said, I want to build with the black man. I want to have black children. That's what I
can see
want to
that.
do. But with this generation of black men, I don't know if it's possible.
Oh my
Me
God.
having sex with a white man, it's the master aspect. It's the buck breaking history. If you know what buck breaking
Wait,
is.
hold on, go back. Why did I blanked out. What was the
I
context
can't
of him
lie.
saying that word?
He kind of like messed up my brain because he said me dating white men. I'm like, what? Like we're supporters, but that just caught me off guard. I can't lie.
Breaking is, it's all of that combined, and then the idea of most times, even in heterosexual relationships, it's usually a fetish for the individual to be with you. It's either because you have a nice body, or your skin is so dark and lovely, or because you have, that tool that they want. If you know what I'm talking about. So. Yeah, in general, it's always something on your body that they want. And if it's genuinely true love, that can happen. But for the most part, I just think interracial dating is disgusting.
I've felt
He said,
oppressed by my own.
he didn't say he just proved it. He said nasty.
He said that's disgusting.
Talk about it.
Let's talk about black. No, let's talk about niggas. Be more specific.
Sir.
Let's talk about niggas. Okay.
I hope you bleep yourself out.
I am bleeping myself. There's a subsection of African Americans, right?
Yeah.
That think selling prescription medicine is the way to live life. And personally, I do have a problem with that, but if you want to live your life like that, do it. But the problem with that is, objectively speaking, that's a very shitty way to live your life. And when we are the bulk of people who do it, or at least we're the bulk of people who promote that act, whether it be in the Instagram or music videos or just rapping about it in general, all black people are just going to get that. All black people are going to get that reputation. Like, look what I'm wearing right now. I am a college student right now. I keep good grades. I went through magnet school my entire life, but I'm dressed like I will rob your gas station. Like, if I pull this up, I look crazy. But
yes, but I mean, we did it to ourselves. That's just the image we portrayed.
I'm saying
all these years.
That's something they have done to us, like
Yeah.
as in other black people. So when they say I felt oppressed by my own community, that's how I associate it.
I actually sometimes feel very uncomfortable in spaces full of black people. If you're not desirable as a black woman, if you're not desirable to men, then you tend to get overlooked. I have to work my ass off for things that I want. Black men, cis hetero black men specifically, they oppress all of us. And it sucks because I want to be with a black man, but it's like, I have to try to appeal to my oppressor.
I'm gay and I'm also black. So within the black community, I feel like, again, when we go out to these protests, when we go out to these clubs or parties and I'm in heterosexual spaces, I feel like, he's black, but like he's gay, so we can't really mess with him. Like he can't really be in our space. And it's like, how is this your space that you claimed over a sexuality and a sexual preference, essentially, rather than us being the same race?
Yeah, of course. Like you were saying, like if you're in the LGBTQ community, it's intersectionality. So people are more cool with me if I'm passing and they see me as like a cis black guy versus if they know I'm trans.
In terms of my experience, I feel like maybe black people were gatekeeping opportunities or like trying to be super stingy or trying to be the token black person and not really, they kind of like bully other black people to making them be like, you don't deserve to be in my space. Like, this is my zone. This is the area that I'm working in. And it's kind of like they're trying to keep other black people from being successful. Like, I feel like I've seen that a lot.
They said a lot of good things there.
That last one is crazy. Like, I've seen it, right? It's two sides of the spectrum. There's people who think that the hoodlums can never get anywhere in life, and then there's the other side who thinks the hoodlums think the other guys are whitewashed. It's two sides of the spectrum because there's black people who want to live life by the books. There's people who want to live it by the books. They want to get an education. They want to get a system business job or whatever and work their way up to the top through organizations or becoming their own boss and CEO. And then there's the other side who don't really have big ambitions like that, but they do. They just put it in different avenues. But they do have a middle ground of they want to be bosses, right? Somebody maybe like us, maybe we want to be a boss of our own YouTube channel, right? That's what we're doing right now, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
that's
sir.
us trying to be a boss. But there's also people who want to be, the bosses of substances that can be spread across the entire neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So that's when black people who are on a higher level look at people below them, they tend to like look at them through this lens of
discuss.
He doesn't want it, or at least that's the look he's getting off. Like I could be going back to the fit. I don't like a businessman. I think I could really be a good businessman. I am very well spoken in proper places and things like that. But you wouldn't get that off what I'm wearing now at all.
Not at all.
So when an upper black man who wears a suit and tie to work every day looks at me, he look at me and think, oh well, he's not trying to get anywhere in life. Look how he's dressed. But yeah.
When I was living in Mississippi, I was around predominantly black people. I didn't feel any different. But now that I'm back here in California and I'm around, other races, I can see why this could be considered colorist, or I can see how in this situation, maybe I'm feeling, like I'm not as worthy as these other people. But I just couldn't use the word oppressed really to describe how my experiences have went.
Have you ever wished you weren't black?
Never.
Like, I want to say, record straight, I love myself now. Like, I love being a black woman. But, for so long,
I gotta hear this.
Because of also family members feeding into the whole idea of oh, you're so pretty because you're lighter. For so long as a child, I associated being black as being something that was a bad thing because I saw how people that were darker than me were treated. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be this anymore. But I mean, with a lot of love and compassion and hardcore teaching, so I was like, being black is honestly the best thing ever.
We lit. I just feel like we're lit, and I get where that comes from. That's a part of colorism, and that happens a lot in our community. And I just feel like if we all just accepted our blackness more, we would just
talk about it.
Great.
Talk about
it. When I was younger, I moved to a town that was predominantly white and Hispanic. I never felt specifically oh, I wish I wasn't black, but I did look at other people and say, I wish I had hair like them. I wish I looked more like them.
I love being the race that I am, but having 4C hair and having darker knuckles, darker kneecaps, especially in elementary school and middle school, getting through that was really hard. Now at
Did you get
this
janked
age,
in middle
I'm
school?
learning to accept all parts.
On this, actually, people are always gonna have insecurity and desires. No one's really gonna be, in love with themselves until they get to know themselves.
That's a very cherry picked question. I think everybody at one point wishes they had maybe I had the curly hairstyle that a white person has, or maybe a lighter skin tone so I can be more attractive to other people. I think that's a very cherry picked question because I think everybody has started regardless if you're black or not.
With me, but I still battle with it every day.
There were times where I maybe wish that I wasn't Black American, that maybe I wish I was an African woman or Brazilian, because I feel like Black Americans, we kind of were disconnected from our African roots and our heritage. And that part kind of hurts because it's we don't really have much to call our own besides Ebonics or AAVE. But Black American culture has ultimately set the tone for a lot of modern day pop culture too. So I'm proud of that part as well.
I would raise my kids differently than my parents raised me.
Yes and no. I would raise them differently because some of their techniques are kind of just too harsh to where I wouldn't want my kid to go through it. No is because of the way I turned out.
But being completely honest.
Be completely honest.
I think my mother did a absolutely phenomenal job at raising me. Like, look, because I have two sides of my family, right?
Okay.
Oh, God forbid my dad sees this video, but there's my dad's side of the family, and there's my mother's side, right?
Okay.
My dad's, like, my siblings on my dad's side, right? They are very, very, very polarizing to be around, if you for lack of a better term, because they have this like grand sense of entitlement that I just could not get behind. Like, I was raised on manners. I was raised on respect your parents. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Bro, you should have seen how blowed I was when I visited them for the first time. And none of them use yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like, they talked to them like they were equal. Like, yeah, what? Like, you know how bad it would be to say what?
Right there. Right there. Just pop, pop. Just right there.
If you haven't had an experience with whether sexual abuse or some type of violence in your home, you are lucky in the Black community, because it happens to so many of us. And I feel like with me experiencing that growing up, I would never beat my child. I don't want to have to feel like beating my child is the resource or a source of like them respecting me. Yes. I want them to know about mental health and take their mental health like serious, because we don't take it serious in the Black community at all.
I love that you mentioned that specifically about mental health, because it's something you can't talk about in our community sometimes. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, are you crazy? I'm gonna whoop your tail. Like, you shouldn't be acting this way. I give you everything. You have no reason to be depressed.
Right.
I don't want to reciprocate that onto my children, and I don't want them to feel like if they're feeling depressed, if they're feeling overwhelmed, I don't want them to think they can't come to me and talk about it. My parents, they didn't have that opportunity to communicate with their parents because they were raised in a completely different generation.
Okay.
So now, like, I see my mom was, raising me this way because that's what she's used to, but I'm gonna cut it off with my line.
All right, guys, if you want to see more videos like that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would say click this video right here, but this is our first video. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Bye.